Alright, this is the Klickitat Fish Camp 2020 Fall Chinook Salmon Season. Fish Camp is where I spend spring, summer, and fall. It's absolutely awesome here. It's got a beautiful view, and it's also big enough for Big Red and the sled. And another plus is I'm only a couple blocks away from the bait store and less than a quarter mile to the launch ramp. And I'm only 10 miles away from the mouth of the Deschutes. This is where I meet up with friends every year from Arizona, Washington. We meet up at the Deschutes State Park. I like to bring my camp trailer down. It's a great place to set up, and you got a great view of the Deschutes River, also known as the D. It's also a great place to be able to pull the boat up. It's really nice to be able to launch out of here in the mornings rather than driving over and battling the launch ramp during the fall salmon season. There could be 50 to 100 boats at a time over there trying to get out in the morning. It's also a great place to take photos and come back and take our pictures. It's also where we have our fish fries and salmon chips. It's also a great spot to pull our fish out of our fish bags, clean our fish, got fresh water, really nice. Then after I'm done cleaning fish, I get to pull out the spinners and start tying up spinners for the next day. I always like to start out earlier in the season with spinners, and then as the water warms up, switch over to super baits. Okay, enough talk about the D. I'm going to throw up some video clips here of some fish that we caught out on the Columbia right outside the D.
Hey, reel that green triangle up. Nope, not.
All you do is face slap that fish's head.
I don't care. I didn't want it near the motor.
Oh, Bo, Noah's brother, said I should have face slapped him right about then. Gotta love them too.
Lift. Nice. Now that's a hog.
Oh, it just came off.
For Riley's first time salmon fishing, she did a fantastic job on lifting up that tip of that rod to get all that gear up close enough so Noah could net the fish. After they got it in, Noah got to assist her in lifting it up for the picture. We also fished the Klickitat, and Riley was able to hook one up there as well. Levi, my oldest son, and his girlfriend Riley ended up with 3 fish for 2 days. Riley ended up with the biggest fish on my boat of the year. So Riley got to show Levi how it's done.
We got Gerald on a fish, finally.
I can still in.
No?
Yeah.
You haven't got it on the boat yet. You can do a good net job?
Alright, we got Gerald with the fish on. Gerald's actually the guy that taught us how to pull these 360 flashers. Several years ago, he showed us how to pull super baits behind the 360 flashers. He's the one that actually got us hooked on the 360 fishing, and we've been hooked ever since. Well, I guess I should correct myself. Me and Noah got hooked on the salmon fishing, but Evan, he's a little lazy. He doesn't like getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 4:30 to get out there and do what it takes to catch the fish. But shoot, me and Noah, we've been hooked. We've been coming out ever since, and we've evolved a little bit into the spinners and other types of fishing. But Gerald's the one that got us hooked. We also got to spend some time with David Lurie. He actually bought a new boat this year, this Crestliner. Anyway, we got to watch him hook up.
You're on video, Dave. You better not. I see it. We're reeled up.
We'll get you. We'll get your payment at the dock. All right.
Well, Dave ended up landing that fish. We didn't get a picture of it, but we did get a picture of him when he came out with us the following day on our boat. So had a great time. We ended up getting limits that day. Had Dave, Ebo, and Bruce on, and myself.
Oh, you don't like him?
All right, we got my fishing partner and my my troubled kid here. He's got a fish on, Noah. No, not Noah. And just in case you're wondering how Noah got his nickname, No, Not Noah, we took him out, it was mid-October, several years ago, I think around 2016, 17. Anyway, it was mid-October at the Deschutes, afternoon bite. He tied up 5 super baits. Anyway, we're 5 for 5 for hookups, but only 2 fish made it to the boat. Anyway, looking at the rigs, we found out the failure was in Noah's knot, so hence he got the nickname No, Not Noah. Now that was several years ago, and Noah has improved greatly. This is a spinner he tied up, a pink spinner. I think it's a 3.5 Simon. Anyway, this was one of our best rigs. I think we landed several fish with it. Now there were some hotter colors, but I don't want to give all of them away. Has fish on.
Big fish. Keep pressure on it, buddy. Lots of pressure.
I want the fish back here. I don't want it in front of you.
Alright, Dad, it's almost here.
Everybody stay with him.
I forgot.
Big fish.
Oh, what are you doing, Noah?
Get on him!
Jeez, what was that?
Now we know why Ebo was wanting me to slap his brother. Anyway, horrible net job, but he ended up getting it done. Alright, we got Bruce Pickthorn, my partner in crime, hooked up with a nice coho. Got Noah with net in hand.
Oh, Noah's taking his hat off for this one.
I don't want to fall off.
See it? Get it? Chinook?
No.
And Bruce ended up with a nice little coho here. We did get a couple, but we only fished for them for a short time with using the Brad Wigglers. Wasn't too long, we switched back to our 360 flashers. Just about all of our kings came on the 360 flashers, but I was able to hook one on a wigglewort last fall, and ended up being a nice fish. It was pretty fun, a lot more fun fighting them on the Brad's wiggleworts than the 360s. So when we're using the wiggleworts, we're using smaller rods, 8.5 foot rods, 30-pound main line to like 12 mono. Anyway, just lighter gear makes for a lot more fun fishing, but we're a lot more successful on the 360 flashers. Here we got Ebo on Dick King's boat. He was fortunate to be able to go out with him. Dick King ended up killing it this year. He was named King of the D. He ended up with limits before daylight, countless days in a row. Did a fantastic job, and he just killed it this year. Man, did we have a terrible year for smoke. We had fires all over Oregon. Most of the state was pretty covered with smoke. The D is, the Dalles is probably 15 miles away, and I think the air quality index for the Dalles was up near around 500. and that air quality index, I think, at 150 is unhealthy. So we were really pushing it being out there, but we hung in there. We ended up fishing just about the whole season. We did have a couple days without a bunch of smoke, but for the most part, this is what it looked like out there. Anyone who fished the fall salmon run near the Deschutes that knows this. Anyway, we got Wendy Boyer, owner of Gorge Outfitters Supply, on here with the fish.
Oh, Wendy, get that
If
fish.
you're ever down here fishing this fall fishery and you run out of spinners or super baits, anything, Wendy will have it. It's a small store with a lot of fishing gear, especially when it comes to salmon fishing. She's got just about everything. Plus, they tie up their own walleye spinners. So yeah, for anything you're fishing for here in the gorge, they definitely have it. As you can see here, Wendy's out with one of the guides, David Ing. She definitely goes out quite a bit. So she has quite a bit of knowledge, from being there local with all the local fishermen and going out with the guides. She's full of knowledge, so they're pretty good about sharing.
Nice.
There you go.
Way to go, Wendy.
Well, we got to not only watch Wendy land this nice Chinook, but there was also a plane taking off and landing on the Columbia River. That was pretty fun to watch. You never know what you're going to see when you're out at the D. Now, I've talked a lot about the D, and I really don't think I've given the Klickitat enough credit. If it wasn't for us moving over to the Klickitat several days, we would have not have caught as many fish as we did this year. I know we put anywhere from 60 to 75 fish on the boat for the season, and I would say probably 10 fish came from the Klickitat, and so I'm grateful that fishery's there. Sometimes the fishing is slow at the D, so it's really nice to have several options. And if option A is no fish and option B is a fish, I'm always going to go with option B. Regardless if we're fishing at the Klickitat or at the Deschutes, at the mouth of the Deschutes, we always end up back at the state park. And like I said, this is where we can clean our fish and come back and relax. Fish camp, the Klickitat, and the Deschutes would not be the same without this guy right here. Good friend, Paul Phillips. He loves to fish, and this year he got to do just that. He got to do a lot more fishing than catching, but none to his fault. It just was a strange year this year. I know the Eggers guys that were out hover fishing struggled. Also, the Jiggers, got a good friend that does a lot of jigging here, struggled this year. Seen him out trolling quite a bit, but anyway, it was just, it seemed like the fish just ran straight through rather than piling up at the Deschutes. And anyway, they made it a little bit tougher. They were spread out, and anyway, we had to work for it a lot harder this year. We had to actually find the fish and change tactics, but it ended up working out. We ended up catching some fish. Wasn't the best year ever, but man, a bad day of fishing sure beats a good day of work. So anyway, and this whole fall salmon season is it's all about spending time with family, friends, and time on the water. All right, I want to end this video with a little bit about what we did later on in the season. we ended up switching to the Brad Super Baits original side. Some of my favorite super baits are the Rotten Bananas, the Hot Lavas, and what I call the Grouchy Owl, which is the, I believe it's called the Groucho from Brad's on the package. It ended up working really well for some big fish towards the end of the season. All right, well, that's a wrap for Fish Camp 2020, the fall Chinook salmon season. Now it's time to get ready for fall Chinook 2021.